What's up guys, welcome to the Bold Hairspring, Ivan here. Today we'll be checking out one of the latest releases from Pagani Design. This is the Rolex Explorer 2 homage, or a copy as many people would suggest, but that's a discussion I prefer not to start. The watch is cheap, it's of decent build quality, but it has its flaws as you'll see later on. It's also fun to wear and it gets reactions from people, both positive and negative. Enjoy watching this video and let me know what you think of this Pagani in the comments below. I bought this Pagani myself from the Pagani Design AliExpress store for €119, and since I bought it the moment it was released, I didn't get any discounts. However, you can get yours for €115 now, as they have some sort of sale going on. You can find the link in the description of this video. The watch is available with a white or a black dial. I went for the white one, as you can see, and the delivery to Spain took exactly 2 weeks. It arrived in a small box with a cleaning cloth and a free NATO strap. As always, let's start with the dimensions. The case diameter is 42mm, the lug-to-lug is 50mm, but you do get male end links which stick out a little bit, so keep that in mind if you have smaller wrists. Finally, the lug width is 20mm and the thickness is just under 13mm. Here's how it looks on my 17cm or 6.7-inch wrist. Guys, due to its large white dial, this Pagani appears bigger than 42mm, but it wears nicely and it's comfortable. And to make it fit my wrist, I had to remove 5 links, which brought the weight down to 154 grams. The overall build quality of the watch is very good. It's entirely made of 360L steel. The whole watch feels solid and the tolerances of the case and the bracelet are tight. According to Pagani, the watch is 100 meters water resistant, but I haven't tested in water yet. Guys, keep in mind that the crown is not a screw down crown and I can't see any gaskets between the crown and the case. If you have or have seen the Pagani Daytona homage, then I can tell you that the build quality is about the same, and so is the finishing. The only difference is that this Explorer 2 homage feels more substantial due to its weight and dimensions. Speaking of the finishing, the watch is mostly brushed with the exception of the case flanks, which are high polished. The level of finishing is not up to St. Martin standards by any means, but for €120 guys, it's more than what you can ask for. In fact, I'm quite impressed by how nice Pagani has executed the 24-hour bezel. It really looks beautiful with that beveled edge and vertical brushing all around. Once again, for the money, it's great, but I don't see that step up in terms of quality that everybody talks about. Next, let's talk about the design. Although there isn't much to say, the watch is gorgeous since it looks almost identical to the Rolex Explorer 2. The white dial which sits behind the flat piece of sapphire crystal is well made and the printing is reasonably sharp. The only thing that really annoys me is the date window, since the cutout has this recessed frame that looks terrible under the magnification of the Cyclops, which by the way is slightly misaligned. In my opinion, this watch would have been 10 times better if it didn't have a date at all. Other than that, the dial looks very clean and extremely legible. The GMT hand looks fantastic in orange, and just like the rest of the handset and the hour markers, it's filled with some blue lume. I've heard people saying it is BGW9, but I assure you guys, it isn't. However, it lasts longer than the typical AliExpress watch, and here you can see how it compares next to my Oris Aquis, which does have Superluminova BGW9. The Aquis Lume is obviously much better, but it's also a much more expensive watch. Moving on, let's have a look at the bracelet. 316L stainless steel, fully brushed, even the sides of it. You get solid links, solid end links, and a milled out clasp. The clasp is definitely an improvement over the Submariner style clasp that Pagani used to put on most of their watches. It has 3 micro adjustment points and it also has a pressed metal diving extension that you'll probably never use. The links of the bracelet are put together by screws, which makes the sizing process nice and easy. However, if you buy this watch guys, I strongly recommend that you check out all the screws as they all came loose upon arrival. Using some Loctites to tighten them up is also a good idea in my opinion. To be honest, the bracelet is pretty good and I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. Now let's talk about the movement. Inside this Pagani you'll find the Chinese caliber DG5833. I literally know nothing about it except that it's the same movement that Pagani puts in their GMT Master 2 homages. I've heard a mixed bag of opinions about it, but for the few days I've had the watch, it's been running alright. It runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour. The power reserve is of about 40 hours. And it also has automatic and manual winding. I have no idea how many joules it has, but I can tell you that the rotor is unidirectional and you occasionally feel it spinning. Finally, it has a GMT complication, which works. You can set the GMT hand by pulling the crown out into the first position. From here you can also change the date depending on which direction you turn the crown in, and the crown action itself feels pretty sturdy. At this point I can't complain, but I do have concerns about the longevity of the movement, simply because I can't find much information about it. However guys, be sure that if something goes wrong, I'll give you an update in the comment section and in the description of this video. Finally, we can see the movement through the mineral crystal exhibition case back. It doesn't look particularly nice, but at least you can check that the rotor is still in place. Okay guys, I know what you're thinking. A €120 GMT watch that is well built and well finished must have a handful of negatives. Well, there are a couple of things that bother me, but I've already mentioned them. As I said, the date window looks awful and the cyclops is misaligned. I've been thinking about removing it, but I'm afraid the result will be even worse. Secondly, I'm a bit skeptical about the movement and its reliability. Other than that, for €120 this watch is pretty great, and if you want something that looks like a Rolex Explorer 2 as much as possible, then get yourself one, as there aren't many alternatives out there. Not in this price range at least. I've heard of Peter Lee, which is another AliExpress watch. It goes for about €50. I'm convinced the quality is worse than the Pagani's, but I can't tell you that for sure as I've never seen it in the flesh. The GMT hand on that one serves only as a 24-hour indicator, therefore it's not a true GMT, but I thought I'll mention it. You may also want to have a look at Pagani's other recent releases. For instance, the next model I'm very interested in reviewing is their Planet Ocean homage. I'll probably get one and compare it next to my orange bezel wide dial Omega very soon. I also saw that they have released a Royal Oak homage, which looks kind of nice, but I'll pass on that one as I have plenty of other watches waiting to be reviewed and very little free time, unfortunately. So guys, that's the end of this review. My final words are that this Pagani turned out to be a decent pick. As you know, I don't mind AliExpress watches because I think that they're cheap and they offer a lot of value for the money. I wouldn't recommend anyone building up a whole collection of Paganis and similar brands, but having 1-2 laying around can be a lot of fun, and they can also be great beaters. Of course, feel free to disagree in the comments below. That being said, thank you very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Take care everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.